So you've been constantly affirming over and over again, and your manifestation isn't here yet. What's going on? Now, this is a trap that a lot of people fall into, and it's one that I fall into all the time, and I have to remind myself. So, first of all, it happens to everybody, but we need to just remind ourselves that affirmations manifest into reality when we saturate our mind with the thing that we want. Um, so, what usually happens is our mind is like this glass, and you can tell that this glass has some raspberry cordial in it. And the raspberry represents our negative thoughts. And when we start to think a new way, a more positive way, let's say you're trying to manifest a job, and this applies to everything. Maybe in the beginning, you were like, oh, I'm not good enough to get this job. I don't know, there's so many people going for it. Will there be a space for me? But all of a sudden you learn about manifestation, like, no, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to affirm for the new story. So your old story's in here. And then your new story is this. It's your pure thoughts. It's your clean thoughts, let's say. And then you start to affirm the new story. So you can see as you pour more water in here, it's getting lighter and lighter and lighter. It still shows some of the color of your old thoughts, but that's because you're washing it away from your system. So when you are affirming, sometimes your old thoughts or your old stories come up, and all you need to remember is, right, I'm focusing on the new story. The things that I'm seeing in my reality that I don't want are just my old thoughts, are just my old juice, my old cordial, my pink water. So you need to still push through, purge and clean your glass of water away. I'm not explaining this very well, but the more you put in your clean water, the more it cleanses your mind and only remains the clear thoughts. So if you start to think negatively again, like, oh, I'm not going to get this job, you're going to put this and it's going to get darker again. So your aim is to say, okay, I'm going to keep topping up this glass of water. I'm going to try and make it as clear as possible so that eventually you get a clear glass of water. But that's why when we're affirming, sometimes someone says the opposite, or we see the opposite, or we feel anxious that it's not happening, but it is. There are a couple of other reasons as well that when you're affirming, you feel like it's not working. So the first thing is, and I've written this down so I don't forget, it hasn't been enough time. So sometimes we do it for 3-4 days in a row. We're really proud of ourselves, which you should be. But 3-4 days is not a lot of time, especially if you've had weeks and weeks and weeks of complaining, of being negative, of doing the opposite, of checking the 3D. So you've got to give yourself at least 2 weeks of constantly focusing on your desire before even saying like, hey, what's going on? Where is it? The second thing is, when we're affirming, and this is something that took me some time to fully realize, when we're affirming, we're not affirming to get something. So if I'm affirming for a car, I'm not affirming to get that car. I'm affirming to remind myself that I am the owner of that car. I'm so happy I got my new car. I can't believe my new car has red leather seats. I'm so, you're affirming to remind yourself that you're the person that has the desire that you want. So who would you be if you had that car? You'd probably, if you've got a fancy car, you'd probably be quite cool and relaxed. You might dress in a certain way. You might behave in a certain way. You'll show up to situations in a certain way. Same thing as if you're trying to affirm for being beautiful, being confident, being magnetic. You might not totally feel that way yet or believe that way, but if you try to step into the version of yourself that has all of those traits, what would you be? You'd feel very comfortable in your skin. You'd maybe choose certain clothes. You would choose to behave certain ways in a social situation. You'd be kind to people. People would enjoy your company. So that's a really major thing, that you're not affirming to get something. So don't think, okay, I'm going to affirm 100 times a day so that I'm going to get my thing. You're affirming just to get you into that state of mind of the person who has the thing. And the last thing really is that when we're affirming, sometimes we affirm, and then you check the 3D. Is it here yet? Is it here yet? Or you then complain to your friends, and then like, oh, he said this, he did this, or I got rejected, I got this. And this is also, if you had the thing that you wanted, you wouldn't be complaining to your friends about that thing. And that's when your water gets darker with all of that cordial, all of that squash in your drink. So every time that you're affirming, I want you to try and think, am I putting pink colour in my water, or am I just putting more of that clear water? How much of that clear water have I got? And if I'm affirming and I'm being good and I'm out and about and suddenly something's triggering me, somebody said something happened to make me feel like, oh, I'm not going to get the thing that I want. No, that's just a bit of my pink water. In my reality, no. I'm pouring in more of that clear water. It's fine. Because that's all that is. You're affirming for your new story. And once you affirm long enough and clear all of that pink water out, it will become automatic. You're not affirming forever. So one affirmation that I absolutely love and it always helps me, especially if I'm feeling anxious, I say everything's always working out for me. Everything's always working out for me. And it's really general. It's not to a specific situation, but it just calms me down. It helps me feel good. And so that way I know that in any situation that I turn up in, things will be okay. Like today I wanted to go to a specific bakery, and I've never been there before, and it always has such a long queue, and it is boiling in the UK, and even being out for 10 minutes you get super hot and sweaty. But I thought, no, I really want to grab something from that bakery, and I was like, I'm gonna go, everything's always working out for me, it's fine. I walked there and there was no queue. I've never ever seen no queue ever. And because everything's always working out for me, everything's always super easy. And I just, that's just something that I always fall back to, because I had some messages from people saying that I'm trying to manifest something, I'm affirming, and I need to get this thing in a week. Like, I need some help. But you've got to remember that if you're panicking, you're coming from a place of, I need to affirm for this thing to try and get it. You've got to remind yourself, I already have the thing that I want. And assume the state of the person that has your desire. And if you're anxious, you fall back onto some blanket affirmations to say, everything's happening, because there's always movement happening around us. Like, imagine that there's movement behind my camera. You can't see you can't see what's behind my camera, but things are still happening, things are still moving, things are still progressing. So when you're applying for a job, when you're waiting for a text back, when you're applying for a loan, when you're waiting for test results, when you are about to have a presentation and you don't know if it's going to go well, always think that things are moving in your favor, and that with each affirmation you're putting clearer and clearer water into your glass, and things are moving in the way that you want them to. Just because you can't see it happening doesn't mean that it's not happening, because from the moment that you're affirming, you're building lots of momentum, and things are moving around in order to make it all happen for you. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this is answering all the questions that I'm getting. I have lots of manifestation success stories on my YouTube channel, so if you're in any doubt, just go onto one of those videos and hopefully that will inspire you. But yeah, keep affirming, keep making sure that your glass of water is clear.